to consider what obligation do you assume for the security of their houses and whatever is in the houses.
DARA Smith, CBN News.
There are a number of lives lost due to the passage of what was Tropical Storm Gustav is believed to be in double figures. This was revealed by Prime Minister Bruce Golding as he painted an overall picture of the damage island-wide, which based on preliminary assessment will cost a pretty penny. Once again, here's Dara Smith.
Prime Minister Bruce Golding has made the disturbing revelation that unconfirmed reports have placed Jamaica's death toll from Gustav to some 11 individuals. It's believed that most of these deaths are due to flooding. So far, an estimated 4,000 persons have been displaced by the storm. Of that number, approximately 2,000 are still in the 100 shelters now in operation. In giving his preliminary assessment of the situation, Mr. Golding disclosed that Jamaica has suffered significant damage due to flooding, mudslides and land slippages. So the passage of Gustav has seen two main bridges, the Harbourview Bridge in St. Andrew and the Westmoreland Bridge that connects the Junction Main Road to Highgate in St. Mary, being destroyed. Prime Minister Golding indicates that the NWA has undertaken to commence the erection of temporary Bailey bridges at these two locations within days. 129 roadways have also been blocked. Of that number, 41 inundated with water, although 25 have so far been cleared. It was indicated that some of the roadways have been blocked due to landslides. The NWA has also undertaken to clear as many of these roadways as soon as possible.
Certainly I've given instructions to the National Roads Agency to proceed to reopen roads, and the cost for that will have to be provided. The cost for repairing those roads is what they will have to prepare in more detail and with greater specificity, so that Cabinet can consider and make the appropriate decisions.
As it relates to housing, Gustav also took with it an estimated 150 homes. And the agricultural sector in the east has also been affected. The banana sector, which is just rebounding from Hurricane Dean last year, has again been affected. Agriculture Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton indicates that he's very concerned because of the major losses to the banana industry. Preliminary estimates so far point to between 70% and 90% of banana trees blown to the ground. But the minister remains optimistic, this in light of the planned restart of exportation of banana in the coming week.
What I'm being told is that there is significant falling of trees, and therefore it is an indication of damage, but until it is confirmed, some salvaging can take place to try and save what can be saved.
So the Prime Minister will continue his tour of the island to get a true assessment of the damage done by Tropical Storm Gustav. He has given the assurance, however, that come Monday, he should be in a better position to advise Cabinet on the response required. This response will have to take into consideration the estimated 4,000 persons believed to be displaced as a result of the tropical storm. Reporting from the Office of the Prime Minister, I'm Dara Smith for CBN News.
Work is expected to get underway within the next 48 hours to restore the Harbourview Bridge. The bridge, which connects Harbourview to areas like Bull Bay and St. Thomas, collapsed, thereby displacing many. We have more from Janelle Precious.
The fury of the Hope River rumbled into the sea, taking down everything in its path. The Harbourview Bridge could not withstand the fierce surges, or could it? Some residents point to mining which was taking place in an area under the bridge, while some expressed the view that the bridge was not properly maintained.
This bridge is still a lot older than you and I, and proper maintenance was not done on this bridge. So if maintenance was done on the bridge, probably the bridge would have. But I don't think this bridge could have stand a lot more. We need to rebuild this bridge.
Whatever the cause of the collapse, though, one fact remains. Hundreds of persons are cut off from the main thoroughfare leading to the capital, Kingston, and all major essential services. Some stood in awe at the devastation, taking huge risks to see the extent. Thankfully, the bridge collapsed in the wee hours of the morning, at the time when there was no vehicular traffic or pedestrians. State Minister in the Ministry of Transport and Member of Parliament for the area, Joseph Hibbert, told our news team that, weather permitting, work should begin on a new structure within 48 hours.
We have not lost any other piers. We seem to have lost 2 on the decking, but we haven't seen any settlement in the other parts of the bridge, which means that they might be very intact. And we have also protected works to them from far back as 1986. So it might be easier to launch a Bailey Bridge now. My worry was that the other piers were as badly damaged as the ones that we lost. But it doesn't appear to be that case.
Our news center understands that the alternative route through 9 Miles Bull Bay and into Papine is impassable.
Thank you, Janella. And there was misery and dislocation for other residents of the corporate area as Gustav's gusty winds and heavy rains transformed living spaces into temporary pools. Marjorie Gordon and FABIA PHILLIPS-LAWRENCE ventured into the most vulnerable areas.
Floodwaters in the wee hours of Friday morning gushed through homes dangerously perched on the banks of the Queensborough Gully in St. Andrew, leaving nothing but damaged buildings and scattered pieces of furniture in its wake. The murky brown water was unapologetic as it rushed on its way, obviously in a hurry to create more havoc. The devastation that you see here is as a result of the waters of the Queensborough Gully. In the wee hours of this morning, the water took with it 4 houses and left 19 families homeless. And while no lives were lost, the flood victims from the community of Greendale have no belongings and have no idea where they will sleep tonight.
Well, we're going to sleep wherever we can catch sweet beans still. Because we have nothing else to do more than catch. Because the house disappear, sleeping, or disappear and gone.
Councillor for the UN Division, AUDLEY Gordon, said shelters are available for individuals to stay, but his offer did not receive a positive response. He stressed, however, that the 3 shelters will remain available to the victims, but relocation must be an option for the residents.
Right now, as you can see, the major work will have to be done here to build back the gully wall, compact back there and build back the gully wall. And ultimately, we may have to look at relocating some of the residents because the truth be told, it will never be safe near the bank of the gully with this sandy soil.
Councillor Gordon reiterated the appeal that seems to have fallen on deaf ears to persons who, whether through poverty or ignorance, continue to tempt the faith.
If you live in certain area, you know the areas, you're near to at the bank of a gully, at any time it could give way. You need to begin to think seriously before the rain starts to move to safer location.
Over in the New Haven area of Kingston 20, the waters from Gustav were a little kinder to individuals. Their homes too were flooded, but the impact was not as devastating. Marjorie Gordon, CBM News.
I'm PHILLIPS-LAWRENCE. Hours after CBM News visited New Haven, the situation there made a turn for the worse. We were unable to access Riverside Drive and other areas, at least not by car. Some residents, unperturbed by the knee-deep water and rising, ventured out anyway to wherever. But in the midst of disaster, there was fun. These youngsters were either making use of the rising waters, taking a playful ride up or downstream, whichever, or they were heading somewhere, and that was the only means of transportation. New Haven is a troublesome spot when it comes down to flooding. Drain cleaning exercises were carried out, but the community could not withstand the amount of rainfall. At the Edith Dawson High School in Duane Park, the only active shelter in that area, just over 40 persons who were affected by the heavy rainfall sought shelter. Fearful for their property, some did not linger much after daybreak, having spent the night.
Yesterday was a bit slow because they called me and they said they weren't able to leave because of people might vandalize stolen things. So they said they are just holding on to see what the weather would be like, whether it would check. So this morning is when I had the bulk of activity.
Among the other affected sections of the corporate area was the Sandy Gully in the vicinity of Gore Terrace. Part of the gully wall tore away, no doubt frightening those who live on the edge, literally. PHILLIPS-LAWRENCE, CBM News.
Now, there's no doubt hundreds of persons across Jamaica were asking throughout Thursday when would Tropical Storm Gustav